I just had one of the best voice lessons I have ever had. My pitch was better than it usually is. I found myself very focused the whole time. I was adapting to the instructions that my teacher was giving me. I felt at the end I usually perform a few songs. I felt as if I was able to just really lock in and perform super well. And I want to share what I did before the lesson to have such a good lesson, because I think if you're trying to learn how to sing, or you're trying to learn how to play an instrument, or trying to learn anything, honestly, I think that this video could help you. I think, and I don't claim to be an expert learner. I don't claim to be like an expert musician or anything like that. I just have noticed, this is just my experience, I just had a really good lesson, and I think this is why. So let's get right into it. And before I get right into it, I want to talk about this book, Limitless by Jim Kwik. And he talks about how any activity you do, the state you have, the state of your mind going into that activity is going to greatly affect how well you do that activity. So just think about that for a second. It seems very obvious, right? And so what do we mean by state? It means your state of mind, like how sharp your mind feels, how clear your mind feels, how calm your mind and body feel, right? And so how do we get to a point where we are in good state? So it might be impossible to control it completely, but there are many things we can do to control it. So I think what I did today before my lesson, which allowed me to have a really good lesson, is before my lesson, I would say about an hour before my lesson, within an hour, I did these things leading up to my lesson. I went for like a light jog, very light jog, nothing that left me so winded that I had trouble breathing. Because sometimes when I run really hard, it's almost hard for me to breathe. I find myself coughing a little bit. It's almost like my lungs feel like they're on fire a little bit when I do sprints and stuff. But I just did a very light jog. Honestly, super easy pace. Nothing that even made me that out of breath. Just something that made me sweat and feel good and get good fresh air. I meditated and then I took a cold shower. I did all these things right before my lesson, and I think the combination of these things allowed me to be very focused and have a very high quality lesson. And so, and then I warmed up a little bit. That also helped, so that when we got into it, I was already kind of ready. I was kind of humming and stuff before, during the day. So my voice wasn't completely cold. So anyway, I thought I'd share. So this is gonna be a shorter video, but I thought I'd share. I think the way of thinking about this is, I remember when you were in, I don't know how old you are, whoever watching this video, but I remember when I was in school, I'm in my 30s now, but when I was in school, I remember there'd be a big exam, where I took the GRE exam a few years ago, and I remember I would always try to think about, like, how can I optimize myself to do the best on this exam, right? And I would think about what foods I would eat and all this stuff. And I think that if you think about your voice lesson or music lesson like that, as if it's an exam, as if you want to perform and get the most out of it, I think having that mindset will help you get a lot out of your next voice lesson.